looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you. I know that life outside is so hard. There's a lot of things that can tear you apart. I know the roads sometimes feel lonely, but remember you're not the one and only. There's always someone there to help you, a helping hand to pull you through. There's only one thing you should do: take my hand and join the Love and Laugh crew. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then let love and life guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And my gosh, the internet has become such a weird place, seriously. Now, I'm going to show you something. Have a look at this. This is the email I got from myself that I broadcast today in my Gmail box. And it comes with a message put up there, not by me, but by Gmail. And it says, be careful with this message. Gmail could not verify that it actually came from lovinglifetv.com. Avoid clicking links, downloading attachments, or replying with personal information. And then it comes with a little box that says report spam or report phishing. And here is my email. Now, this is clearly shadow banning, because not only did they not put it in my inbox, they put it into my spam. And it's a perfectly legitimate email. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's got today's links, and it just shows how absolutely desperate these nefarious people who run the world are becoming, because we do cover subjects that they don't want us to cover. And clearly this is what this is all about. Now, let's get back to tonight's subject. Yeah, okay. Actually, that's a good point, Alta. If you got an email like I did, where it's either put in spam or it's got that strange message as a header, please type 1 in the side chat. If you didn't, please type 2. Let's see what they are doing to the email that I send out. Thanks, guys. I'll just let you do that while we move on. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about decluttering. And we're not just talking about sorting out your house and, getting the trash out of there and making it nice and clean. We're talking about decluttering your life as well in so many different ways. And I've got a short video I'm going to play which will give you just one aspect of decluttering. Here we go.
Hello, good morning. I want to talk to you about clutter today. Are you surprised? I talk to you about clutter every day because it is the bane of our homemaking. But here's the thing about clutter. Clutter is the enemy of clarity. That means when you have clutter everywhere, you can't think straight. Have you ever heard it said that when you look at someone's messy desk, you know that's what their mind is like on the inside? Well, it's kind of the same thing with our house, and mostly it's because we're sidetracked. So if you want to fix this, get your planner, do your routines, do your basic weekly plan, do your zone work, but do it every day consistently so that you can have clarity, you can have peace, you can have organization. So clarity is the enemy of, clutter is the enemy of clarity. And today you're going to conquer clutter. And you don't conquer it all at one time. Don't get overwhelmed. It's just one little bit at a time, 15 minutes. Make it a great day.
All right, guys. Now, you probably noticed that she got a bit confused about clutter at the end of that too. Well, it is what it is. All right, I'm going to get our guest on. And, of course, it's the lovely Melissa. And here we go. Let's get Mel on. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, good evening, Scott. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. I can't see you yet.
There we go.
There you go. Gorgeous. Big smile and all. Right.
Oh, how are you, Scott? Yeah, we just actually kicked in with load shedding in South Africa. Yeah, but luckily, for my fiance, well, we have some power that stays on forever, so that's good. But how are you doing, Scott?
I'm excellent, thank you. And I'm a bit gobsmacked. You said your fiance.
I'll leave it for the very end.
Okay, all right. We'll leave that for the very end. Okay.
Okay.
Promises? Now, Melissa, tell me what clutter is all about. Give me a short description about clutter.
Okay, well, as a little girl, I would always look at my mom and say, my room is not dirty. What are you talking about? I just have everything on display, like the museum. So, yeah, I think that might be quite a clutter of a cluttered room, I would say. And I think, Scott, also, sometimes we do have so much clutter around us, and we are not even aware that we have so much clutter. But I think clutter can also be it's in various forms. It comes in various forms. It can be clutter around the home, heart, mind, relationships. So yeah, clutter is not just physical stuff. It's old ideas, toxic relationships, it's bad habits. Clutter is anything that does not support your better self. That is clutter in a nutshell for me.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just fighting with my computer here, but that's okay. Now, how do we go about organizing clutter then? Because I mean, it impacts every aspect of us, doesn't it?
It does. Well, Scott, I think that is the mistake we actually make. We want to try and organize our clutter. Now, organizing clutter is basically just decorating the situation in a different way or a different manner. It doesn't really truly take away the problem of clutter. Because if we're going to just take our clutter and we just box it and we put it on the garage shelf and think, okay, now it looks a little bit less cluttered, it still means that the clutter is there and it's wasting our time, it's wasting our money, it's wasting our space. So yeah, I definitely think that the way to think that we need to organize clutter is going to solve the problem. We really need to think twice before doing that, because yeah, we can't only just say organizing clutter is going to be the solution to the problem, because it's only just fixing one problem with another in a different way, if it makes sense. So yeah, I don't think clutter can be organized. I also think that sometimes when we do clutter, actually also, hence you asked me what is the definition for clutter. It's either keeping an item or a person somehow. And it's always like, if this sounds familiar to the listeners out there, then it's time for us to declutter, not only organizing, but literally decluttering the clutter. It's always for that just in case situation, or maybe we can use it someday. The feeling of letting go, that we almost feel guilty of letting go. Saving messages as proof or evidence. It's never just our word doesn't always seem just enough. We always need to hold on to that messages or that voice notes or that recorder or anything just to have the evidence and proof for in case we need it. It's also the guilt versus the obligation. Sometimes we go through so much guilt, but we forget that our obligation is actually to declutter our lives, to make it easier and to make room and space for things that's actually really, truly there for us. And then also the money lost. Sometimes that we feel that it's more of a money lost situation, either on the item or the money we have spent on the person. And then also the idea versus the reality of security, because a lot of us feel the more stuff we have, the more status we have, the more secure we have. But it's actually basically a lie, It depends on what you hold on to and the reasoning for holding on to. And yeah, I think if that does sound familiar, I think it's time to declutter our home, our offices, our workspace, our mind, our personal life, our relationships. So yeah, that is what we need to do. And I also think, Scott, that the organizing part should rather become the questioning part. You should actually ask yourself the right type of questions to be able to organize yourself enough to sort out the clutter. And what I mean by this is you need to ask yourself the questions of how realistic is the things that I'm holding on to. How realistic is that holding on to it in the sense where it doesn't serve me? So how realistic can it be if it doesn't serve me? And we need to eliminate that. Or maybe we should start asking ourselves the question, would you really need it in the future if you haven't needed it by now already? So would you have the need for it if you haven't thought about it now? So what guarantee would there be that you will need it in the future, or at all for that matter? So therefore, we need to let it go. Because half of the time we're holding on to things that we actually don't need. And also after decluttering, and I highly suggest, the watchers or people out there, really after decluttering, and this is a very simple fact of life actually, is after decluttering, you won't even remember it after 2 or 3 weeks after destroying or decluttering. So that's quite nice. And letting go of the past can be hard. We all know that it's hard. But holding onto the clutter makes the present harder to be enjoyed. And it limitizes the new memories and moments that you can build that's actually really serving you and not degrading you.
Right. Now, look, there are two little words you used in your intro which really grabbed me. And what I'm going to say is highly controversial, okay? Just be aware of that. Highly controversial. You used two little words. You said when you clutter it, you box it, okay? You box it. Now, we know that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and that men compartmentalize everything. If I'm sitting in front of a computer, that's what I'm thinking about, that's what I'm talking about. If someone comes along and asks me a question, I'm basically focused on what I'm talking about or doing. Whereas women don't do that. This is where it's controversial. Women, their mind is more like clutter because their thoughts are going all over the place. So let's look at this. Who then, men or women, are more likely to, when it comes to the way they think and stuff like that, who's more likely to have clutter, men or women? Oh, I knew
Well,
this.
don't we clutter each other's minds with a lot of, but I think women, well, I'm not speaking for all the women out there. Let me rephrase. I'm not speaking for all the women out there, but I know myself, I have been a cluttered ball. And I think one of the wisest advice I could give myself is just to get out of my mind and my own head and into a box, because women love to spend time in the kitchen. So if you would give us a box of instructions of how to bake a cake and all the goods are inside the box already, we love to declutter it and take everything out of the box for a useful purpose. Whereas men sometimes put things into a box to box things in and just mind their own business. So yeah, I would definitely have to say women. We are always on the go. Our minds are always, if it's not feeding the baby, getting the baby dressed, getting the baby
multitasking.
Yes. Good one word. One word comeback. So I have 2 words to add the 1 word comeback. So yeah, but definitely need to, I think women, we love to keep things going into our own head, and we sometimes just need to get out of our heads. And I think Scott, as you know, it just depends on the person really. But yeah, we all need to declutter somehow and somewhere. I'm sure none of us are perfect, and we just need to find some aspect in our life where we need to just clean up a bit.
Now, there are a whole range of aspects of decluttering, and you've just mentioned the mind. So how do we declutter our mind?
Well, Scott, it depends on a few things. You know, the mind is such a powerful source, which then eventually leads to our performed actions. You know, what we feed, we become, those kind of things. And it also often leads to destructive behavior, self-sabotaging your own happiness and success. So cleaning the clutter from your own mind is stop feeding it what you don't want and start feeding it what you do want. Because we so often focus on the negative things, and our mind registers negativity as an ongoing thing that we need to break away from. But the more we tell our mind how negative it is, it lives and thrives on the negativity, instead of saying, okay, we need to start focusing on not what we don't want, but what we don't want, but what we do want. And we need to constantly declutter our mind from that negativity and start feeding it positive things, actually, as if you are living in the moment already, like if you have ownership to whatever you want already. So instead of saying, you must actually say, I'm thankful for having this now, or I am thankful for seeing myself driving my dream car now. So instead of saying, my mind's so decluttered that I want that so bad, but why can't I have it? Why is life so unfair? Why can that person have it versus me? And we're feeding our minds with so much nonsense and pressure that we can't feel the freedom of our own expression when our minds are clear and in the state that it needs to be of happiness and peace and light. So I would say we sometimes need to get out of our own heads and start maybe keeping a journal, and instead of just cluttering our minds with thoughts and things and feeding ourselves things that we really, sometimes we just need to get out of our own heads because we are so busy, to keep a journal maybe and to get those thoughts out, reflect on it, because a cluttered mind really leads to cluttered decisions. And that cluttered decisions go over to behavior, which leads them to unnecessary stress and anxiety. So we need to learn, Scott, to declutter the mind so that we can start focusing and taking better care of our health.
Right.
because it does in the end affects us with anxiety and unnecessary stress. And it can obviously then put over into various things like cancer or, various aspects of illnesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one
Yeah.
of the areas that we do clutter our mind is with worries, and someone made this incredibly pertinent statement, and that is that when it comes to worries, 80% of the things we're worried about don't eventuate, or they're a nothing burger, and all that time you've been worrying about them was just a waste of time. 20% of them, yeah, there might be something you have to deal with, but again, they too will pass. And that small percentage that you can't change, if you can't change it, why worry about it? So, worrying is obviously a huge area that we clutter our lives with, isn't it?
Very true. And I think also the pressure of today's life also doesn't make it easy, because it's always the worry about where finance will come from, where the food will come from. We see the petrol prices rise. We see food just becoming more and more expensive, and the salary still stays the same. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on people nowadays just with the minimum salary that have gotten them much further in the past, now getting them less and less of value, and the stress is big. Yeah, the stress is really, 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 really big. So yeah, and it's just taking me back quickly to where you said, the worries are things that sometimes we worry too much about. It's like jogging, I'm not a jogger, and I'm not interested in jogging too much, but it's like these joggers. My friend said to me, listen, why don't we just go jog? I said, no, I'm not going to run from something that's not after me for kilometers and kilometers, because it's like I feel I'm always running away from something that's not after me. But in the end, we cannot eliminate the factor of worry, not in today's life. And it does. It is why a lot of problems with suicide, households just that can't keep up with the pace, children who's being, who suffers not having food, entering schools hungry, the fooding schemes, more and more fooding schemes are coming up, trying to help the people, the families. So yeah, you can see there's definitely shift in the community and the society where people really want to reach out and start helping because of the situation of worrying and stress that just gets to us. And more and more people end up on streets, begging, and yeah, it's a huge problem, Scott. It's not something we can easily overlook or ignore. Definitely not.
Right. Now, there's another huge area of declutter that everybody who has reached a middle age or old age has gone through. And there's a term we use in Australia. It's called baggage. When you come out of a relationship and you're carrying the baggage of that relationship, which you can't declutter from. How do people declutter from past experiences and declutter from bad relationships?
Sure. I think a lot of us don't declutter. We're holding onto the clutter because we just simply sometimes just don't know how. But people hold onto things, Scott, because from their past is because they confuse feeling with reacting. And what I mean by this is you would see emotions as a warning sign rather than an avenue for healing. And then in order to heal, you will have to feel it. And I think we often, holding on to it causes negative, toxic thoughts, which affects your mindset, health, choices, as we've seen, and you don't appreciate the present. Like I say, people cannot let go of the past experiences because they don't value and give enough value and appreciation to their present. Because if you're going to give enough attention, appreciation to your present, all that will automatically vanish. Because Dalai Lama once said, attachment is the origin, the root of suffering, hence it is the cause of suffering. So yeah, it's a deep one.
Wow.
Attachment is the origin, the root of suffering. Hence, it is the cause of suffering. So, yeah, we will suffer for as long as we choose to keep it there. And I always say, things repeat itself for as long as you allow it.
Because a lot of people do get emotionally damaged by bad relationships, and of course that is clutter. So how do people clean their closet if they've got this clutter?
Okay, so my loved one Brom, he said to me, there's different rooms of, well, life is basically rooms, and the rooms have closets.
For guys, it's boxes. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so he's got the boxes, I've got the closet.
Okay, over to you.
So anyway, and then some, no, Rod, let's rather leave it there. But you need to make peace with your past so it doesn't clutter your future, because as we know, life is full of rooms. And you need to understand that if you're in the wrong room, people will wrongly accuse you. And what I mean by that is you will never be able to be good enough for the wrong person. You will never be able to be seen as beautiful with the wrong person. They will always try and bring you down because you're with the wrong person. There will always be someone better or more beautiful when you are in the wrong room. And we often mistake being in a room of choice, and then we question why everything is going wrong. Why am I not valued enough? Why am I not appreciated enough? Why aren't I complimented enough? I'm not that bad of a person. But we need to get to terms that if you're in the wrong room with the wrong people, you will never be happy, you will never be content, never successful. And if you are in the right room, you will start hearing the right things, the right compliments. You will attract success, you will attract God's favor, family, happiness, peace, and I can go on and on and on. But we also need to also understand that when we do clean our closets, we need to remove the wrong people. And we often hold on to the wrong people because for some odd reason. Maybe it's a challenge, maybe it is the fact that you lack wisdom, experience, maybe it is that you are just completely and utterly dumb, like I've been. You're just bluntly stupid. But holding on to the past is definitely drinking poison every day. That's killing you and expecting others to die. Because you often see things that you keep in the closet for your own sake while those people have gone on with their lives and you're the only one staying behind. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and due to the fact that I've been holding on to so much clutter in my life, cannot say that I'm actually where I wanted to be at this age because of all the things that I've been hiding in the closet. And by holding on to things, and this is the perspective that we don't know, is we often mistake the fact that if we want to take control of our own lives, where we just need to let it go. Because letting go, it's like open hands. When you open your hands and you let the things go that's in, then your hands can be open to receive something else and something better. But we intend to hold on to fear, things out of fear. We need to sometimes hold on to things due to the lack of regrets in ourselves, unforgiveness with ourselves. I think that's a big one. We have not forgiven ourselves, so we try to hold on to everything else to make it better, but in fact, we're just making ourselves more sick. And then also, if you are a bad person, life will always get even with you some other time, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, a year from now, 2 years, 10 years from now. Now, Brahm always have this thing where he says, if it smells like poo-poo and it looks like poo-poo, it is poo-poo. So you need to sometimes understand that your closet needs to be able to come clear and clean for the better things to come in. And we sometimes hold and clutter and fill our rooms with so much unnecessary things that we want to take control of and actually do, but shooting ourselves in the foot in the end. So cleaning out the closet is important, Scott. you need to start removing the wrong people, the wrong scenarios. Because, there's one thing, I wrote it down here somewhere. Just excuse me, I actually wrote something down. You must always remember that people want to see you do good, but never better than them. People want to see you be good, but never better than them. And a lot of the clutter we hold on to is the clutter that we feel we need to prove a point to ourselves.
Well, it's interesting, Melissa, because Marlena says, enjoy the wisdom of Melissa. And we all do. And, here you were suggesting that you have clutter in your life too. So that means that we've all got clutter in our lives, let's face it.
And I just want to say thanks, Marlena. I would rather say not wisdom, but experience. I've made terrible choices in life, but with the terrible choices came good experience. And hence, therefore, you can make better decisions, which will lead to knowledge, which will eventually lead to better wisdom. So thank you for the shout out, Marlena. And it's always good chatting to you. You and I have had also very interesting conversations before. It was very dear. So thank you for that as well. And I've often listened to some wisdom from her side as well. So hopefully by the time with age comes wisdom. So and with being a little younger comes experience. A little bit at a time. So foolish decisions, silly mistakes. So. But that's all I can say to that. That's I might maybe not have all the wisdom, but thank you, Marlena. It surely touches my heart because it shows growth in me. If you can see wisdom in me, it shows that I've grown, and that's all that matters right now. Is just me learning from mistakes and keep growing into the woman I know that God have created me to be. So thanks, and thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it.
Well, I just wanted to say you took the words out of my mouth when you said with age comes wisdom, because, look, I'm the old fart in the room, okay? So just saying. No.
I'm just...
just continuing with decluttering. Now, one of the areas that has become so woke and politically correct is the use of pronouns and stuff like that, where, if you don't use the right pronoun for someone who's transgender, and to me, that's all verbal cluttering and labeling. What are your views on all that stuff that's happening today?
Sure. I think, labeling, Scott, is quite something in everyday life. You are never rejected. You are always redirected to something better. But more people would learn from their mistakes if they weren't so busy denying them, I would say. And sometimes when people label you, it is a direct reflection of who they are. Because I see often in the school environment where other kids label other children, they've got no respect for each other. Bullying is a massive factor. They belittling each other. They bully each other. They label each other. The one is too skinny. The other one's too fat. The other one is smart. The other one is not, and so forth. So with labeling, we need to be very careful because it's a very negative outcome, where that person experiences feelings of rejection and discrimination. And with that, labeling affects our identity. It does. And it affects our self-esteem, and it also holds us back from becoming the person we were destined and designed to be. And the opinions of other people should not be mattering. But because we are human and we have this nature of being accepted, being loved, being cherished, being appreciated, as much as you love those words of kindness, the total opposite can be words of distortion.
Right. Now, I just want to interrupt this live stream for a second because there's something really important going on. And this was prompted to me by Nat Quinn, who sent me a message in the side chat. She said, "Thought I'd let you know that I was just perusing the website when I was sent a notice from the browser that the connection had failed and that Loving Life TV is unsafe. And I thought I'd just go and check this out for myself. And this is the message I got when I tried to go to Loving Life TV. Now, this is censorship, guys, because we are covering subjects. The internet is no longer a free platform. It is complete and utter censorship. Obviously, after this live stream, I'll be talking to Adrian about this, but what's happened is that Loving Life TV, as of right now, is blocked by the powers that be on the internet. Now, this has happened to a lot of other people I know. I just wondered when it would happen to us. Because we're talking about subjects that are taboo for the New World Order, they are now targeting platforms like lovinglifetv.com. Just letting you know that that's what the situation is, and thank you for tipping me off about that, Nat. Talking about clutter, my gosh, you know, the internet's become an absolute minefield. Okay, now let's continue, because we're on YouTube where, you know, censorship city, I call it. Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
So everybody can see us, but lovinglifetv.com is temporarily down, and we'll go and resolve that shortly. Okay,
all right.
let's.
Yeah, I wanted to also just mention something about the everything is energy, and we need to start realizing that. Now, I've always laughed at my mates and my friends who always were so very airy about energy and these kind of. Now, I've got a lot of energy, so you just look at me and you're tired. But I also believe that energy, it's my gift to have so much energy, but you need to be careful how. Now, I need to be careful how I direct my energy, because I can definitely redirect it in the wrong direction, or I can choose to direct it in the greatest direction of light. So we need to understand that it can be just everything is energy, and we need to understand that energy cannot be destroyed. However, it can only be redirected and or transformed. So when we label someone, we need to understand that we set out so much energy, almost like you've always sometimes heard people cursing each other or placing a curse on someone else as just a joke. Well, these kind of things, you need to understand that energy is involved and that it can really not be changed, and it can only be redirected and transformed. And we need to start delabeling the labels that we put on people, because it will come back solidly hard to you at one or other time and space. And yeah, I just need to just voice it out there, because a lot of people think it's a game. A lot of people think that you know, labeling people is okay, which is completely not. And they need to declutter themselves from labeling people. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a number of people have just let Adrian know that Loving Life TV is being blocked, and so I'm sure it'll be up again by the time we finish this live stream. Okay, now my mind has been cluttered by these thoughts about.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking, oh boy, oh girl.
But look, this is just for everyone who's watching right now. This is the state of play that is happening in the world today. This is what artificial intelligence is going to do in our lives in the future. It's going to control you in every aspect of your life. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, well, we all talk about the social credit system, where you'll have this digital currency, and if you're naughty and you don't follow the government or the New World Order's paradigm, well, then they can just cut off your money just by flicking the switch. This is how controlled we are becoming, and we just don't realize it. Now, let me unclutter my mind and let's get back to our subject here. Mel,
Yes,
tell us
God.
how we can redirect our thinking patterns.
Ooh. Okay, redirecting your thinking patterns. Like I mentioned earlier, you are never rejected, because we often think the worst, in the worst possible way, about ourselves. It is easy to think good about yourself, and it's easy to listen to compliments about yourself, but it is absolutely not okay when you hear, something bad, or because, like people say, they never forget how you came. They would never forget. They would never forget the way you come in. They will always remember the way you left, and people will never ever remember what you have said that was good, but they will remember that one thing that you didn't say, or that you said in the incorrect way. Now, we often speak to ourselves, and we often do not speak to ourselves in a proper manner. We often speak to ourselves in an inappropriate manner. And I always say to my students, be careful what you say, because you are listening, and you feed whatever you choose to feed. Like, it's those two wolves, right? The wolf, the black wolf, white wolf kind of thing. Everybody has got a white wolf in them, and everybody's got a dark wolf. So it depends on which one you feed all the time. And I also think that a lot of times we project this false identity and image about ourselves. Once we don't know how it is to redirect our thinking patterns from negative to positive. And like I also said, more people would learn from their mistakes if they weren't so busy denying them. Because a lot of times we deny, or we try to please people, or we try to not say something out of fear, or say something or not say something, and we are definitely controlled by our thinking patterns, because our thinking patterns goes over automatically in the way we speak and the way we act. So redirecting our thinking patterns, Scott, must definitely come from a place of love for yourself. You need to build up your self-esteem. You need to find things inside you that you are proud of. Even if you can't find something, then you fake it till you make it. But you need to find one aspect as to where you want to evolve as a person. Growth, like that I was speaking about earlier with Marlena's comment. You need to push yourself to growth. Otherwise, you will always just stagnate in the failure of the version you would never become, because you don't believe in the best version of yourself. And you need to be able to believe in the best version of yourself to become that best version of yourself. And that is the goal everybody should have. And we cannot do that if our minds are too cluttered, that we're not worthy, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not worthy enough, I can't do this, I'm stuck in my past, I'm stuck in my mistakes, because my mistakes in my past are not going to define who I am. And it is very challenging, because people keep on saying to you, but you did it anyway, and it's not going to change. But what I want to inspire you with is the words of other people doesn't matter, as long as you just keep going in yourself, keep going and growing into a better person, because we all have mistakes and we all make mistakes, but we need to press in to press through. And that is what I want to say to that. We need to press through our thinking patterns every day, and we need to feed it with positive things. The world is broken enough as it is.
Yeah. Now, I've just got a message back from Adrian, and I'm sorry you were cluttering this with, but it's a good example of clutter, this, isn't it? Because Adrian's just Skyped me back, and he said, "Hi, Scott, the servers are up. I've been online with the techs now, and they confirmed the international connections router are down, and the providers have rebooted them. They said it should be active shortly, in about 15 minutes. I'll keep you updated." So Nat, if you and others can just go and check the Loving Life TV site in about, say, 10, 15 minutes, and just hopefully it'll be back up there again. Now, I just
want to send a shout out to Nat as well. Nat, I haven't been in touch with you recently, but thank you so much for all you do for Loving Life, and thank you so much for always posting my little notes and my letters and weekly, and just thank you so much for all you do, and a wonderful shout out to you. I hope you are doing well, and I'm sending you lots of love and light from South Africa.
You see, we have an amazing Loving Life family. We really do. I mean, they're all such good mates. I mean, look, let's get back to our subject, because there are people listening who want to hear about clutter. Now, I'll tell you something that saved my life, and I'm talking about at an emotional level when I was in my early 20s. And I had this horrible, dark feeling inside me. It was really, really bad. And of course, I just was living with this, and I was reinforcing it by living with it. And I listened to this fellow on the radio. He was a psychologist. And he said, you know, when and he talked almost like he was talking to me personally. He said, when this sort of thing happens, which can happen a lot in people's lives, he says there's one great truth, and that is that thought is far less stronger than verbalizing something. Because when you verbalize something, you actually reinforce it in your mind at a far more powerful level. So just because you're having negative thoughts, don't think that you can't fight back. You can, because what you do, let's say, for example, your thought is, I'm a failure. Okay, I'm an abject failure. I always fail. Well, whenever that thought comes into your head, the first thing you do is you replace it with a thought of, I'm a winner. And you don't stop there. You actually verbalize that. You say, I am a winner. And what is actually happening is that you are retraining your mind, because verbalizing it is a far stronger form of memory than just a thought. So by just repeating that every time on top of that negative thing, and I tried it and it worked. It takes time, but it works. You find those negative thoughts start disappearing because you're verbalizing a positive response to it. And it's like overwriting a bit of software. You overwrite the negative stuff by verbalizing a positive response to that. I saw you want to say something, Mel.
No. It's like, the book The Secret. Now I'm not. I don't know if you have read the book The Secret, if you're familiar with it. Friends of mine have read it. They often had discussions about it. Now, it is also like that. I found some beautiful writings that I've read from the book, and it is like, with the same energy you serve yourself to say the negative about yourself, you can take that same energy and serve yourself with the goodness of who you are. And I think a lot of times we just choose to be miserable about ourselves. Yeah. We just choose to go and feed ourselves nonsense until we believe it, and then we go and just live it. And that's actually, it's live it. It actually shouldn't be like that. We should serve the same energy into the positive than what we are willing to serve ourselves with the negative. And I think we should stop that. We should stop, because what you think is what you attract. And what you attract is bad. Yeah. And what you attract is going to mess up your future. And I know I'm going to talk about it in the end. But it is constant. And, we play this constant yo-yo game with ourselves. I don't know if it is that we like to be self-destructive, if we like to be if we self-pity ourselves, if we undervalue ourselves, if we, are too oversensitive to what we hear. And I think it takes us to the next one of clutter, of the social, what is my next point? I think it's social media. I don't even know, Scott. I didn't memorize, but you can never prepare for these chats and talks enough. You can't really. But I think it takes me to the next one, where we are so worried about what people think of ourselves or of us, that we don't think of ourselves enough, because we leave the room for everybody else to think what they need to think about ourselves, but we would not take that same effort to think about ourselves, because other people set a false identity of who we are. And it's stealing our own unique self away from us, not because they're wonderful, but because we allow it. And then we don't serve in our talents and gifts that we have been God-given. And we never deliver our own purpose, because we just clutter ourselves with the things that other people say about ourselves. We start cluttering our minds to believing this utmost clutter crap. And then we never get to our deliverance of our purpose and talents and gifts that we've been given, like I just said. And we need to understand that we are not defined with what other people say we are. Because a lot of people from out a lack of who they are or the lack of understanding of who they are, they often belittle other people to bring them down so that they can feel more empowered, which is absolute nonsense. So,
okay.
Anyway.
Now, I've just shared a screen with you, and I'm going to share this with everyone. Marlena's just sent me this email. Guys, this is hot off the press, okay? This is an exclusive. Marlena says, oh, shit. Okay, so this has got to be bad. This is what's in the email, and it's from someone we don't know, iceferrell at iceferrell.pl, and they say, your website has been hacked. Your site has been hacked. Please forward this email to someone in your company who is allowed to make important decisions. We have hacked your website and extracted your databases. How did this happen? Our team has found a vulnerability within your site that we were able to exploit. After finding the vulnerability, we were able to get your database credentials and extract your entire database and move the information to an offshore server. What does this mean? We will systematically go through a series of steps to totally damage your reputation. First, your database will be leaked or sold to the highest bidder or built. There's no confidential stuff on our databases, so that really doesn't worry us at all. But obviously, Adrian's going to be looking into this, which they will use with whatever their intentions are. Next, if there are emails found, there will be emailed that this information has been sold or leaked and your site, lovinglifetv.com, was at fault, thusly damaging your reputation and having angry customers, associates with whatever angry do. Lastly, any links that you have indexed in the search engines will be de-indexed based off of black hat techniques that we used in the past to de-index our targets. How do I stop this? We are willing to refrain from destroying your site's reputation for a small fee. The current fee is $3,000 in Bitcoin. Please send the Bitcoin to the following Bitcoin address. How do I get Bitcoins? What if I don't pay? Okay, now, obviously, we're not going to pay. Stuff them. And it's interesting, the timing of this while Loving Life TV is done. He says, if you decide not to pay, we will start the attack at the indicated date and uphold it until you do. There's no countermeasure to this. You will only end up wasting more money trying to find a solution. We will completely destroy your reputation among Google and your customers. This is not a hoax. Do not reply to this email. Don't try to negotiate. We will not read any replies. Once you've paid, we will stop what we are doing and you will never hear from us again. Okay, so that's just what has been sent to Marlena. Now, Nat Quinn says, I'm on the website right now. This is absolutely intriguing. I'm sorry, but clutter is, it's such a topical thing. Now, Nat says she's actually on lovinglifetv.com right now. And yes, I'm on it too. So that's a bullshit email. There it is. I'm back. Loving Life TV is back. All right. But guys, this is the sort of crap that we come across on the internet. And yeah, look, obviously we got the whole thing backed up anyway. So guys, you've seen a bit of excitement here exclusively on Loving Life TV. And I do apologize to our guests, but you know, clearly we had to address this during the live stream.
Every time I'm on, something happens. Last time this video just disappeared. I don't know what's going on.
We're here. Yeah, it is. It's attempted blackmail, Garnet, but don't worry, we're onto this. What I'm going to ask Adrian to do is to just reset all the admin passwords, just to let the admins know, just so we can just make sure. Okay, now Marlena says she can't access it yet, but I can. I've just been straight onto it, and I've just displayed that. All right. Let's continue. My gosh, this is a really cluttered live stream, that's for sure. Okay.
Well, you need to pick. You see what happens in the universal energy, Scott? We cannot even make jokes nowadays.
Inspector YT says Melissa is a suspect. Yeah, go figure.
I'm undercover, Scott.
Let's continue. So, I guess one of the ways we can declutter is getting real with the actual truth.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Scott, I always say that we are so cluttered with news and what the society wants us to be and what social media wants us to be, what friends would like to turn us into to be more like them due to jealousy, or maybe relationships that want to change us so that we can fit into a certain framework. Constantly thrown between identities of who we truly are and who other people want us to be, and then who God says we are. So the truth to me is what God says of me I am, regardless my mistakes, my brokenness, whatever. God defines who I am. So who God says I am. So another thing with the truth is, Scott, is the truth will set you free. But first, it will make you miserable.
Mm.
So, I hear thunder in the background.
Well, that's the least of our worries on Lovey Life TV, believe me.
I'm a message from heaven. So, I sometimes the truth will set you free, but sometimes, it will first make you miserable. Meaning, truth hurts.
Mm.
And recently, Brahm and I, we were sitting, we were chatting. And if he didn't love me as much as he does, he probably wouldn't have opened the can of worms to truth. Because often we don't like the truth. We don't like to hear the truth. Yeah. We often try and escape the truth. And once the truth is revealed, we often feel a little bit uncomfortable. It just depends on from which space and environment it comes from and what your part to the truth or was. But I mean, the truth eventually will set you free. It might make you feel miserable. It might make you feel uncomfortable because we don't always like to hear the truth, like I said. But in the end, when truth is spoken, freedom is given. And that's one thing I had to, in a very short amount of time, master. Because we often, it's always the witlinkie or the, how can I say? Sometimes we like to protect maybe someone else, or but I always say half a truth is as good as a lie. You would often hear people say as well.
Right.
But yeah, I would say, Scott, if you want to look about the truth about who you are, just open the Bible and see who God says you are, because that's exactly who you've been created to be. God does not make any mistakes, by the way, as well. He does not make mistakes. So he can redirect you to make better decisions so that you can have more truth about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say that's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what you've put down here as a talking point is breaking and breathing. Tell us about that.
Okay, so breaking and breathing. So first you need to break to be able to breathe. Because I was placed under some terrible, terrible heat, okay, lately. And what I mean with that, it's just because I was carrying with me so much baggage from 14, 15 years ago into my new relationship, or actually never giving it the amount of respect and clarity that it needed. So hence, coming into a relationship with baggage is never, ever, ever a good thing. So I had to break to be able to breathe. Because we had some intense conversations about this. Whereas I never realized how intense it is to get rid of photos. Just simple old love letters. Just simply a recorder I kept 14 years with the most revolting stuff that was said to me. I'll never be anything alive. You're ugly. You whatever. You're the most, your nose is as big as Japan or whatever. And I mean, it's 14 years ago and I still remember what was said. Now, do I live in what was said and keeping it alive by cluttering my life, carrying it in a bag on a recorder into a relationship? I must be nuts. But I am nuts because I never really realized, but just keeping a letter in a drawer draws attention, bad, negative energy into the relationship. I never thought of, the old photos on an old hard drive, you just keep in case someone wants to come and say something about the relationship and you can say, but no. Here's this, here's the proof, here is, and Rob looked at me, are you for real? Like, are you even for real? And I said, yeah, because what is it? I don't think, I don't go through this stuff. And then I realized just by having it is some, I don't want to say a backdoor, but just simply having it there is not having it not there. So what is it then? Did you get rid of it or is it still there? And hence why we were talking. So maybe it's still there, but it's just boxed differently. But it's still there. So you still have it in your life. So you still have it and you're still carrying it with you. Maybe not physically or seen as a physical baggage, like, for instance, say, if you have been married and you're divorced, there would be a wife or maybe kids or whatever the case might be. And people see that as baggage. Yes, that is the most vivid seen baggage, but where's your baggage? Your baggage is locked up on a hard drive, or it's locked up on a computer, or it's locked up in a drawer, or it's locked up in your mind, or it's locked up you believing that you're not worth it, and you come with this attitude of not being worthy carrying into the next relationship, and then you are set up to fail. That relationship, when it's not given that clean start, it's set up to fail. As simple as that.
Right.
And what I'm saying with breaking and breathing is it's getting rid of all the clutter to be able to let go and to breathe, as it will be your moment to freedom you've never experienced in your life before. So don't even hold on to that one love letter. Don't even hold on to that photographs or past memories when you want to build new ones that's going to serve you in the future of your happiness and forevermore. So yeah, you need to break before you breathe, and it's going to not sometimes be so pleasant to go and actually clean the closet and get the stuff out and go and destroy it, but set that fire, light that fire, put the stuff in there, get rid of it, burn it, do whatever you need to do. But I must be honest with you. Bram said to me, listen, there's certain things that you need to clear the air with. And I was like, okay. And he was so sweet about it. I took one of the items and I smashed it to the floor. I never felt this good in a long time. And I took my high heel and I smashed that recorder to pieces. And in the end, Scott, it was not even a half an hour later. And I was so relieved. It was like if some sort of bad, evil, black, negative energy just, left my heart, my soul, my being, and it was just like if it was off my shoulders. And now I'm very excited to get rid of everything that there is that we so often unsubconsciously hold on to, which is clutter. And what we need to just declutter from. So yeah, sometimes I just say breaking and breathing is you either can break and live a broken life with your clutter, or you can set yourself free, experience the freedom, and just breathe. So
now, Michael Lawson says, I have no baggage and people always tell me I walk with a bounce in my step. And I guess that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Well, you will always cling to clutter, but you will fly with freedom. So, or bounce in your walk. But then I'm sure there was some sort of decluttering freedom then, hence the bounce in the walk. But yeah, you can either cling to clutter or fly with freedom. So yeah, or bounce in the walk, doesn't matter as long as you just feel free and just have cut whatever is not serving you. I always say what doesn't serve you doesn't deserve you.
Okay, so now, Melissa, you're a very smart lady, and yet you've been a victim of having clutter. So that you've now sort of cleared your life of that clutter. So what does being free truly feel like?
Okay. So I would say I've heard this thing once, right? It goes similar to something like this, but between stimulus and response is space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. So I'm going to say that again. So between stimulus and response is space. And in that space is our power as to how we choose to our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So being free feels like a brand new start. Forgiveness is mercy. And freedom is basically, in the most simplest form, freedom is feeling alive. Like, I can't tell you when Brahm, gave me forgiveness, or we speak about forgiveness, that's so merciful, is feeling free. It's like sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we keep ourselves so imprisoned by our own cluttered mind. And freedom is being you without anybody's approval or permission.
Okay, well, look, I'm. This has been an extraordinary live stream, and I do apologize for those little interruptions, but I've never had a website been hacked before, so I thought that it needed to be addressed while we were talking, because these things happen very fast, and thankfully it appears that the website is up. I did get a comment here from Clive who said, I can access the site, but when I click on a video like UFO, it shows an error. So, of course, after this live stream, I'm going to be checking out exactly what's been going on. But I just want to say to you, Melissa, that I'm so happy that your life is coming together, because last time I spoke, you were in a pretty bad place, and
I was not in the place, but like I say, that shows you how important decluttering your life really is.
Yeah.
And so what I want to leave you with, and hopefully my next chat talk would be, is I'm going to just leave it with a phrase, and then I'm going to say what I want to say. Mm-hmm. But if others are jealous, you are doing something right somewhere. So I would love to maybe talk about jealousy and in the next chat. But basically what I wanted to say is I recently reconciled with my ex-fiance. We worked through our differences, the lies we had from third parties, and I was blinded by my own jealousy. So hence my topic for the next show. And with prayer and hope, we definitely have emerged from the drowning waters, and we are stronger than ever before. And I would love to actually at some point have that chat about how blinded we can be if we don't declutter the clutter in our lives, and the clutter of other people and the comments and third parties' lies, which really could blind you in a very, 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 very tricky way. But where love is, where there's a way, love will always prevail. So
yeah. Well, look, I can tell you, I know exactly what you've gone through, okay? Because while you were having your little crisis, I was having my little crisis, which was
Yes.
Loving Life TV being sabotaged on the 9th of September this year. And now we have apparently another little crisis, which you know, I don't need drama in my life. I really don't need drama in my life. But anyway, look, guys, we're going to fix this up. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on. I'm absolutely delighted that things are working out in your life. We were worried about you. We were worried about what was going on. But look, have a great evening. And when's the big day? Have you set a day for the wedding?
Woo! Well, that might be the topic to the next discussion.
Wow,
so
okay.
no, Scott, we have not picked a day yet, but I do know that our birthdays are coming up together, which is in December. I'm totally psyched and excited about that. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what love, romance, and Cupid have in mind? And then obviously the footsteps in the sand of what God's plan is for us. So yeah, we will just have to watch the screens and see what happens.
Well, I can tell you there's at least one person watching tonight whose heart is broken because he's totally in love with you. And tough, Mark. You missed out.
Sorry, taken and very happy. So yeah, no, that's a shout out to everybody. Not
All
interested, not available. But I do hope you find your other half because yeah, it is a wonderful thing too. So yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't serve any attention. I do not keep any back doors open. I'm not interested in having any back doors open.
Yeah.
Don't try me. Don't test me. Not interested. And yeah, no, I am madly in love with my man, and yeah, he needs the respect and the honor. So yeah, no back doors for me. No back there.
Sorry, Mark.
And just what I can say, miracles do happen. So yeah, I'm very, very blessed to have the man I do. He's a wonderful man, and yeah, I couldn't have asked for any better. And I thank Jesus for him as well. So yeah.
Okay. Well, look, have a great evening.
Yes,
and,
thank you. You too.
Yeah, lovely to see you again. And as I said, good that your life is working.
Go declutter the bugs.
And get rid of the hackers.
Anyway, Scott, you have a good night.
Will do. Take care. Bye for now.
Thanks for the opportunity. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that was Melissa Nieuwoudt. And yeah, it's great that her life is sorted out. And there you go. We're talking about clutter. And then we have this issue with our own Loving Life channel, or platform. That's you can guess. I won't even give you two guesses as to what my next move is after wrapping up this live stream. Obviously, we're going to have a look to see what the heck is actually going on. So I'll be talking to Adrian. But in the meantime, let me go out with Hier bly ek boer. Have a great evening, everybody. And see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Johannesburg time.
Het op die grens vir ons gesterwe, sodat ons vry kan wees. Die is my land. Die is my reg. Hier is ek boer. Van stof is ek gemaak en sal ek terugkeer. Die Bybel is die woord waaruit ek leer, soos die grond op die aarde. Hier bly ek boer. Soos diep in die nag sal die vyand kom, maar hier bly ek staan en ek draai nie om, want jy maak my nie bang nie. Hier bly ek boer. My land waarvoor ek sal veg. Die is my bloed, my zweet, my reg. Die is die plek waar my voorvaders leef. Die is my land, hoor wat ek jou sê.
blomme in die somer wat vreugde bring. My oupa wat maniekie kon sing, soos hy stap deur die lande. Hier was hy boer. My wortels lê diep in die grond geplant. My seun soos my pa, los ek vir jou die land, en jy hoef nie te vrees nie, hier sal jy boer. Die is my land waarvoor ek sal veg, die is my bloed, my sweet, my reg. Die is die plek waar my voorvaders leef, die is my land voor wat ek jou sê. Die is my land wat my mense voer, hier bly ek voor. Die leeu sal kom, 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 die leeu sal kom. Die is my land.